Hey, hey, hey. Time for an out-of-this-world story from rSpace. You know the feeling, a nagging sense in the pit of your stomach that something's off? How can you tell if your partner's innocent interactions are just that, or if they're the tip of the iceberg, hiding deeper betrayals? Today on rSpace, can trust truly ever be rebuilt? Up first, a cheater sends some risky pics to a guy who probably still drives the same car he did when he was 18. Need some advice about wife texting another man. I woke up on the couch and noticed my wife went to bed with the kids, but left her phone on the couch. No, I never do this because we have trust in our relationship, or so I thought. But I went through her messages on Facebook and found she has been messaging an old friend from school who she hooked up with 20 years ago. Looks like it's mostly him making advances, but she doesn't seem to mind it too much. They exchanged nudes as well. I know I'm in the wrong for going through her phone, but I just had a feeling. I'm tempted to leave her phone on the kitchen counter and leave her convo with him open, so it's the first thing she sees when she opens her phone. Or do I just say something to her? It doesn't look like they've done anything physical, and she keeps telling him no because she's married, but she's obviously enjoying the attention. Not sure what to do here. Feeling really hurt and betrayed. Any advice would be kindly appreciated. Update. Thanks to everyone for reaching out. I confronted her this morning. I was leaving for work and left her phone on the counter with her convo with him open, so it's the first thing she saw when she opened it. She said I was acting weird, and she could tell I was upset. I was trying to leave before she looked at her phone, but she came back downstairs and said, "So you went through my phone?" I said yes. She didn't try flipping it around on me. She was apologetic and said nothing ever happened between, and nothing was going to ever happen. I said, well, exchange nudes is not nothing. The conversation was one-sided with him. He was definitely the aggressor and very graphic with her. She didn't reiterate the same desire to have sex with him in the chat. She did tell him that she could never do that to me and the girls. I'm not making excuses for her, but she claims he was popular in high school and she was liking the attention she was getting from him. I asked, do I not show you enough attention? She said, no, you do, which I do. I'm the affectionate one and the initiator of sex most times. She asked for a hug before I left and I told her I still love her, but I don't want a hug yet, and then I left. She blocked and deleted him from Facebook, and that's where we were at. Re-update. I messaged the guy's fiance on Facebook and let her know what he was saying to my wife and how they exchanged nudes. She thanked me for letting her know. Apparently they were going to get married in November, but she says now that she thinks that's the end of their relationship after this. My wife has apologized profusely. She knows what she did was wrong. Reading back through the messages, it was always him messaging first. She actually never said anything sexual to him. She just let it happen though. I'm not minimizing it at all, but if she had said the same things back to him that he was saying, it would be a much different story. Yes, people, I'm still pissed, and no, I'm not looking at it nonchalantly. We'll work through it, even if it requires counseling. To those who are shouting divorce, I'm not just throwing away 14 years together and 3 children over this. Trust has been broken. Hopefully we can get it back. Thanks all for the replies. Let's see what advice there is to offer from the community. First up, OP, don't apologize for looking at your wife's phone. I don't understand this. Not one person ever wrote their marriage vows to be read. I promise to love, cherish, and never go through your phone if I'm feeling suspicious, in sickness and in health. In fact, most of us probably agreed to 2 becoming 1. My ex and I divorced not because of infidelity. I'm here for another relationship. We owned a business together and we would often exchange phones for days at a time. I can't imagine telling my spouse they have no business to my phone and to honor my secret life. Someone else says, get a copy of her messages so she can't gaslight you afterwards about what was said and who said what. I think it's a good idea, but do you have time to talk to her tomorrow after the kids have gone to school or in the evening once they go to bed? I would also like to find out as much about this guy before you confront her, especially if he is married, so you can tell his wife, as he will most likely block you if he hasn't already when he finds out to stop you telling her. It might be helpful to look on his social media as well, in case he posted something like a trip to where you live, or you see he went to the same restaurant on the same night your wife went there for her girls' night out. I think you just having all the information up front will give you an idea of how far this has gone, and what you want to do about it. You shouldn't also tell her everything you have found, and let her either confirm what you know, or let her lie. You can even approach it as someone who has let you know that her ex has been reaching out to her and you want to know when they last spoke or what have they been saying. She will obviously lie initially, but it will be good for you to understand how far she will take her lies and if she will confess what's been going on without you having to drag it out from her. One more person offers this. It's nudes that's something for you only. Did you get those nudes as well? If not, then think about it. She agreed. She stopped what she was doing. She got undressed, posed, took a set of photos, probably went through to choose the best one, and sent it. There was at least 6 times she could have chosen to stop there. 6 times she chose him over you and your marriage. Affairs start with the gentle pushing of boundaries. As the boundaries fall, it's easier to push on the next one like the frog in the slowly heating water. Every boundary broken is a string on your shared connection broken. It's wrong. You know it's wrong. She knows it's wrong. Every text, every selfie, every shared fantasy is her choosing to hook up from 20 years ago over you and your marriage. If you want to protect what you have, you close it down, and close it down hard. Take screenshots, etc., so they can't be deleted. If he has a spouse, let them know first, then confront her, preferably around the same time. First thing you do is name him. Tell her she is cheating, and if she does not block him from this moment, you will consider further action, and mean it. At the same time, you present her with printouts of her messages and pictures so she can't deny anything. If you can, get her a phone on your plan with a new number. Tell her she has broken it. She must fix it, and all the trust rebuilding and heavy lifting is on her. I don't think you should beat yourself up for looking at her phone. You had a gut feeling, and you found something that would understandably make anyone feel suspicious. It sounds like your instincts were on point, and now you're just dealing with the reality of what you found. Also, letting the guy's fiancée know was a solid move. She deserved to know what was going on as well, and now you've done what you could on that front. The fact that you're willing to work through it says a lot about your dedication, but is she willing to do the same? And even if she is, do you want to carry this weight? It's one thing to say you'll get through it for the sake of the relationship, the kids, or their history you share. But it's another thing to ask yourself if this is something you'll ever truly heal from, or if it'll always be in the back of your mind. Would you stay? Next up, midlife crisis meets dumpster fire. My husband cheated with my son's girlfriend. So I have to tell this story because it's almost too crazy to even believe. My husband, 43, and I have been together for 20 years now, but only married for 6 years. We had hit a terrible time in our relationship 2 months into our marriage when he was arrested for drug use. I was unaware he was using. I had went to work thinking he had the flu and come to find out it was actually drug withdrawal. He was arrested and sentenced to drug rehabilitation. He relapsed several times during his course of outpatient treatment and eventually forced to serve a sort of in-house jail rehabilitation. During all of this, my son, 25 male, was dating his 26 female girlfriend. They had been together for 7 years at the time the cheating occurred. My son and the girlfriend were living at my parents' house, about a mile away. Well, she went to college, my son paid. The entire time my son and her dated, I kept thinking at some point she's going to leave him. I just kind of felt like she wasn't all that into him. He was paying for her college because he felt like this was an investment into their future together. She graduated college with her associate's degree, and I felt at any time the bomb was going to drop that she was leaving him. At this point, my husband and I had been going through a rough time. He wasn't finishing up his stuff for the rehabilitation. He wasn't working, and I kind of felt like he was hiding something. My thoughts were he was back to using again, and I was constantly trying to find out by looking through texts and emails. One morning, I randomly get a call from my son. He says, "Mom, we need to talk." He says, "Grab your keys and meet me outside at your house. Don't wake him." I said, "Okay." At this point, I'm thinking to myself, oh no, she's pregnant and my son is freaking out. What happened in the next hour would destroy my entire family. I get into the car and my son says, "Where should we go to talk privately?" I said, "Let's drive down to the Locks that are about 5 minutes down the road, but a pretty secluded place to have a private chat." My son stops the car and says, "Mom, my girlfriend and my stepdad are cheating with each other." At this point, I am hearing him, but I'm not hearing him. I feel like my soul has just left my body and I'm in an alternate universe. My son had found emails from his girlfriend and my husband saying stuff like, how funny would it be if they left us for each other? Talking about how they would meet up. Every time my son and I left for work at my house to have nightly activities in my bed. How she had gotten me to braid her hair on multiple occasions just so she could come over to see him. I'm hearing all of this and my daily life was flashing before my eyes. How she would ask to come over to my house to study because my parents' house was noisy. Or how she would ask if I would braid her hair for her to work the next day. I would think she was trying to bond with me for my son when in actuality, she was there to make eyes at my husband and for him to do the same with her right under my nose. Needless to say, I kicked him out that day, and after 2 weeks, She moved out of my parents' home and into an apartment with my husband. As of now, we are still married and filed for divorce, but our court date has not been set yet. My 15-year-old daughter is completely crushed. Her and my son's now ex-girlfriend never get along. They in fact hated each other and still do. My soon-to-be ex-husband has decided that my daughter is just better off not having him in her life because he's going back to the drugs as soon as all his court hearings for drug court is over. Both of my kids went through a terrible depression, and I'm still trying to figure out what in the world has just happened to my family. I'm so confused on all of this. We had our pretrial for the divorce. He was agreed to everything except for he doesn't want to pay for any of the credit cards he used, even though I only asked for the one he used on a daily basis to be paid. He admitted to adultery. He admitted to cutting furnace wires. He will let me take back my maiden name. So the only thing we have to go to trial for is the one credit card because they don't want to pay the $3,500. I'm sticking to my guns on that one. Maybe those two should sell one of the 3 motorcycles they have acquired to pay the bill. As for my son, he seems to be healing well. He's in a new relationship, but since this one has destroyed the family, I'm not getting too close just yet. My daughter has been blocked by her father on everything. He claimed in court it was because he didn't want to speak to me, but I wasn't speaking to him on any of her accounts, so it is what it is. She claims to be fine, but I know it hurts her. I keep reminding her I will always be here no matter what, and that is really all I can do at this point. I did read all the comments before the moderator removed the post. Some were cruel, but I say that is fair. I was completely blindsided, and no one on here can beat me up any worse than I have myself. I'm not an avid poster on Reddit, so I wasn't aware of all the rules, so that is why the post was removed. 1 more month to go and I will officially be divorced. People have asked me if I am thinking about getting into a new relationship. At this point I have a lot of healing to do, so we will see where I am later. So far the ex-husband is living his best life with a 26-year-old and meth. She seems to join her newfound lifestyle of living under the radar while being a health department worker and an addict. I will post another update if I have any more tea to spill later. Update. Divorce court finished yesterday. I'm awarded everything I asked for because it was reasonable. I had kind of hoped that after the court was over, I would feel some sort of relief, but all I have right now is grief. I thought the faster things get done and over with, the better I would feel. I don't feel any better at all. My support system has been great. My parents have taken my daughter for the week while I grieve so she doesn't have to see it. The daughter is in the anger stage. She is angry at everyone. She's mad at him for all of it and mad at me that I'm struggling from it. Financially, I'm great. Mentally, I'm not. I feel like I have been the passenger on a ride I don't want to take, but I couldn't get out of the vehicle and just had to watch as it crashed and burned. Everyone keeps saying it will get better from here, but for some reason afterward, it just felt worse. Someone said I was the winner in all this, but right now, I don't feel like a winner at all. Guess time will tell. Thank you to everyone that commented with words of encouragement. I am grateful I was able to just get out of all this out of my head and just say whatever I wanted to be in the moment. Let's get a response from the community right quick. You should ask yourself why you're so sad. Your ex-husband's life is a train wreck. His best years are behind him and his choice, and you got those years. His new girlfriend is going to leave him when she realizes she didn't actually win a prize. She won a burden. He's decided to destroy his life, and you got all the good from him you were ever going to get. Get your daughter some therapy so she can cope with her anger. You need to go too. The OP replies, we live in a small town. I saw him drive past me every day on my drive to work headed to her home. She comes to every school function our daughter has because her little sister was my daughter's best friend before all of this, and her sister is in every school function my daughter is in. Even when my daughter picks something at random, her sister joins, so the ex-girlfriend can show up in my husband's clothes and sit right in front of my daughter to taunt her. I go to the store and someone stops to tell me how they just saw my ex-husband and my son's ex-girlfriend together. They proceed to tell me how disgusting they are. My ex's family thinks she is in the greatest thing since sliced bread because she is taking care of him, and I see them leaving from around her home all the time. They never come to our home, but they make sure they get to hers. My ex-husband's father makes posts about the ex-girlfriend on Facebook and doesn't even tell his granddaughter. Congratulations on her accomplishments. Maybe I could take the approach of out of sight, out of mind, but they are literally everywhere I go. I try not to leave the house on days off so I don't have to see it, but the house is a reminder too. 20 years of living together and her being here for 7 of it. Yes, he was and is a piece of crap, but I have no way to escape it. It's really telling that your ex and his girlfriend seem to be going out of their way to stir things up by showing up at your daughter's events and making their relationship so public. People like that thrive on attention and drama, but eventually that's going to backfire. They're likely feeding off the shock value right now, but they can't sustain that forever. At some point, reality is going to set in, and they'll have to face the consequences of their actions. Your ex might feel like he's winning in the moment, but being with someone who encourages that kind of destructive behavior isn't a win. It's just postponing the inevitable crash. You, on the other hand, are focusing on healing and protecting your kids, which is what's most important. In the long run, people will see them for who they truly are, and you'll come out stronger for having stayed grounded and handled this with grace. What do you make of this? Thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.